Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today I want to talk about Last Epoch once again, but today's a bit of a different video because today I want to talk about the bad things, okay? Things that I would like to see changed moving forward into the next cycle of the future of Last Epoch. I've been an ARPG player since way too long. I've put way too many hours into ARPG games. And obviously, I've talked about a lot of things that I really enjoy about the game, and I still do, but there are things that I kind of like encountered while playing the past like 3 weeks since the launch, where I'm like, yeah, thinking that should be solved better, or bugs or something like that, and so on and so forth. And I want to make this clear, this is not any kind of like hate video or a rant video or something like that. This should simply serve as a feedback video of somebody that is really just an ARPG passionist, enthusiast or something like that, and so on. So I've wrote down a bunch of points on my notepad, and I want to try to cover them all in a halfway fast manner of action. The things, yeah. Let's just start, I would say. So first of all, gear lock button. This is something I'm missing overall in this game. I would like to have like a button here or on the icon itself where I can lock items in place. Reasoning for that is I've encountered this on multiple instances already. I don't know if it was a server lag or if I was just like unintentionally double clicking or something like that. But what I mean, you know, when you have like a bunch of items and you start to share them for the Affix Shards, and you shift right click it, and all of a sudden, I don't know, shift didn't get recognized or something, and it actually replaced my item. So I just geared up or equipped the new pair of boots, for example, and I didn't even notice, and I shattered the boots that I'm currently wearing, which are like, yeah, not the one that I was about to shatter, right? So having like a gear lock button somewhere would be pretty nice, so this doesn't happen and I can safely start shattering items without, yeah, encountering a bug or maybe like a player issue, skill issue detected to not shatter the items that I'm currently wearing. Next one would be blessings. So this is a thing that is, in my opinion, a little bit annoying. So we're talking about these blessings over here. So every single like timeline has its own blessing, and there is like a quite of a list of blessings that you can find, more or less, right? Let's go ending the storm. These are the ones that I already found. These are the ones that I still haven't found. And the problem here is the way it currently works is like once you're below corruption 200, you get to choose like 4 blessings, and once you get over 200 corruption on stone, you get to choose 5 or like 1 out of 5 blessings, right? And even though I like the system of blessings where you can like min-max your character more, adding some more life, some more armor, some extra resistance, or armor like lightning shred or something like that, it's a pretty cool idea. But the problem that I have is you always have to like re-farm those when you want to adjust something. So specifically, for example, there is a blessing somewhere where it says gives you critical strike avoidance, right? And let's say you are fresh in your character and you don't have access to crit strike avoidance on gear because you haven't found something yet or stuff like that. So you're farming that blessing, and then it rolls, or at least like you find it for the first time as the absolute minimum roll, and you're like, damn, I need to go again, right? So you keep on farming, and you get a good roll on that. So then moving forward like a couple hours, then I find, I don't know, a ring or gloves or something like that that has like tier 6, tier 7 crit strike avoidance, or even multiple items that have crit strike avoidance on them. So all of a sudden I don't need the blessing anymore. So instead of being able to just freely pick on what I already found, no, I need to like re-farm the blessing to find another blessing that I kind of like need for my character. Since crit strike avoidance, I'm overcapped now, I don't need it anymore. What I would like to see would be something like, hey, don't let me pick out of 5 blessings per region, and I don't mind that there is like multiple ones, but for example, if these are the ones that I already encountered, based on the rolls, let's say here the lightning resistance, let's say I once found a 65 lightning resistance, right? Then why can I not freely pick between the ones that I already discovered? And if I then find one that has like 90 or 75 lightning resistance because I was lucky and got a max roll, then just update these blessings in my inventory, right? So the way I would like to see it is, hey, I need to farm that. It's totally clear. And it's a power spike for my character overall. But it feels like weird that I have to refarm every time I get some form of like an item upgrade, and maybe then I'm like overcapped in lightning resistance, so this blessing becomes useless. So I would like to just see what else I already found. So that's why I say give me less blessings per boss kill, but therefore make them like kind of like permanent or something like that. Next up would be the ward/life balance. So the way I see it right now is either you play a ward build or you just don't, you know, which makes not really sense. But the thing that I'm tackling here is a good life-based build has about, let's say, 3,000 to 4,000 life if you don't like hyper go into life where you can reach like 5,000 or something, right? But of the cost of damage, obviously, or other things. But ward builds have just way too much ward as a pure value. The EHP of a ward build is like so much higher and better than any kind of life build that I've played so far. And I did not play any like every build in the game and all variances, but this is just what I encountered as soon as I'm on a life-based build. You know, on a 200-300 corruption, I started like, bro, I'm just getting one-shotted. This just never happened on any ward build that I play, because you have like a lot more ward, but still, this is like the thing, both the life and the ward-based builds have access to defenses like generic damage reduction, armor, evasion, parry, dodge, you name it, you know. And the thing is just like life builds just generally have a lot less EHP than ward. And I don't really feel that is necessary, because in the end of the day, there is like no item where you say like, hey, I need to stack a lot of ward as my suffix like life is, right? So if I go for a life-based build, you have your suffixes like health or health regen, those kind of things. But on a ward-based build, usually the ward comes when like casting spells or using skills, but your EHP is just so much higher on a ward build that it kind of doesn't really make sense why you would not play a ward build, and this is kind of like a weird balancing thing in my opinion. Next is, balance was a good topic, build balance. So I know it's the first cycle, but one thing that I really dislike is that some builds are just way superior than others. So for example, here my Rune Master, and don't get me wrong, this is not like any like, oh, I'm a big gamer and stuff like that. I just pushed occasionally on this Rune Master to like 500 just to see like a personal goal, you know. I said like, hey, when I play this Rune Master, I want to get level 100 and I want to push 500 corruption. But it was relatively easy to get to 500 corruption, and I could see probably get to like 1,000 on this character, because in while running echoes or doing bosses, I'm probably around like 15 to 20,000 ward, and I still have like really good damage. While on the other builds that I played, I have a lot less damage, a lot less EHP, and I'm getting kind of like stuck on like 300 already. While on my Rune Master, for example, I have absolutely no problem in pushing further. So there are like obviously bugged builds and stuff like that where people get like 200,000 ward or something like that, or just playing CHP builds, because at some point of corruption you just no matter how tanky you are, you will get one shot at some point, because you know, if you run like 5,000 corruption, there's probably, I don't know, like 6,000-7,000% more monster life and more monster damage, so everything scales, right? But I feel like that there is some builds that are just way superior to anything else, so it feels kind of bad playing one of the other builds, because if one character can push to 1,000 corruption and another one has a hard time getting to 300 or 400, and then even like not going further, feels kind of weird. I mean, there is always going to be some form of balance where some builds are stronger than others, but I think the difficulty variance is just way too big, you know. If I go into my Cold Dot Werebear and I see like my 10,000 damage ticks or something like that, I'm like, hey, build feels good, but I'm on 150 corruption, and my Rune Master, you know, with the Enigma explosions, I'm getting critting like over 100,000, so I'm like, wait, how long do I actually like, technically, if my Werebear goes to corruption 500, like how long would I need for an echo, because my damage is just not there, and also like the survivability being a life-based build and so on. Next one would be the Affix Shards, and I know this is a topic I think I've heard somewhere talking about the crafting materials here. the Affix Shard. So what happens generally is when you're just running echoes, you know, at some point, or at least like after 4 or 5 echoes, your complete inventory, sorry, is full, and all you need to do is press like the transfer materials, and all of a sudden your inventory is empty, which is in certain degree fine because the Affix Shards, I think that's like what the game dev meant, is they should be an item. You should see those Affix Shards, because if they just get soaked up and then just be in your crafting materials inventory, then you never really feel the impact that you actually found rare Affix Shards or something like that. And the problem is there is a lot of Affix Shards, and I'm like really a lot of Affix Shards. And I feel like, as I said, after 3-4 echoes, every time my inventory is completely full, and it's kind of like annoying, because like, why do I have to press this button all the time? So instead, what about like making Affix Shard groups instead? For example, I don't know, this weird bug when it always like closes your thingy here. For example, resistance. Like, why is like every type of resistance, no matter if it's fire, cold, lightning, physical, necrotic, void, or whatever is there, why not just group them up as a form of like resistance group? And then you have like armor group, you have health group. So and they would then be stackable to like 20 or 50 shards. So you're gonna have like a lot of shards in your inventory, but still a lot less, and you could run a lot more echoes before even like swapping them over. So next topic would be account progression for alt characters with adjustable corruption. And this is a topic that, yeah, this is one, since the list here is not really meant to be in any form or order or based on importance, it's just like something that I care about. So I'm somebody, I really enjoy playing different characters. You know, I've seen like Void Knight with like Warpath, like your typical Cyclone character. I would like to play one of those, you know. Then there is a Totem build, there is a Werebear build that I really enjoy. I want to play a Summoner, I want to play a Rune Master. I'm like somebody, I really like to play different builds and just try to figure out how these are working, how the builds are comparing to each other. And one thing that I just don't like is the amount of stuff that you're forced to do to actually get somewhere where your other main character or your main character is, right? That means doing the campaign is totally fine, but then why do I, for example, have to do the non-empowered monolith over again? So on my main character, I've gone through this process, and doing it once is super fine in my opinion, because it's still like your progression through the game. But for example, when I'm on my new character and I probably have some leveling gear and stuff like that on my stash, means it is already way stronger than my character that I started with, where I had literally nothing. But if I reach the monolith, you know, I still have to do all these like non-empowered monolith, unlock the level 90 zones, and then unlock empowered. And if my character is already stronger because I have leveling gear, or maybe I have already some nice uniques that I found, or like Weaver's Will items and stuff like that, why does my character cannot just go to here and say, hey, I'm low level, I shouldn't do empowered, so I'm choosing normal, right? Or hey, my character is strong enough, I'm gonna start right away with the empowered versions, right? I would like to see just more things where the player can decide what to do, and that also has in common, like, for example, the keys, you know, the dungeon keys, or, yeah, dungeon keys, basically. Every time you're on a new character, it feels like you're playing on a complete new account, just that you have access to your stash, like your gold, your Affix Shards, which makes you already stronger. But still, a new character, campaign, non-empowered monos, then I need to farm blessings, then I need to do, like, lower dungeons, because, the dungeon difficulty is the 4 steps. You still, on a new character, have to do tier 1 again, and tier 2 after, and tier 3, and so on. That you can even, like, start to create uniques that just have, like, a higher base item level. I think is a bit weird. Then we have the corruption bonus for alts. So, let's assume I'm here on my Rune Master. Well, we don't need to assume, because this is the current case. I'm here on corruption 500. So I have a build in mind, and I really would like to play the new build, and I think it's going to be stronger than my Rune Master, and I want to push even further than what my Rune Master did, right? But no, every time you start a new character, you are on 100 corruption, and it just takes a lot of time effort to just go back where you were before to like keep progressing for your personal goals, for example, right? Like just going from like empty corruption 100 to like back to 500 is quite some hours of investment where you're just basically just trying to get back where you are, and this feels like super repetitive, and then I need to do it on the next build again and again and again. And it would be kind of like cool if there would be some form of like adjustable corruption when I say, hey, I want to go empowered, and then there is like certain like maybe like a timeline or something where I could like swap between like empowered or corruption 50, 100 or whatever I unlocked on my account, like a scroll bar or something. So I still have the option to say, hey, my character is bad, I'm better off just farming the normal ones until I get some levels, but once I get to empowered and I'm starting on 100, it's totally fine. But still, I want to say like, hey, if my main character is like 500 corruption, why can my alt character not go to 500 corruption if I already unlocked that on my account? I don't say that you should freely pick between all the corruption things. Like, hey, I want to try out 10,000 just to see how it feels like, so I just bump it up. So it's really about character progression or account progression per cycle. So the more you encounter, the more you unlock. It should be kind of like available to your alts to like keep on progressing, but still have the option to decide if I want to go back to the high corruption from my main character, or do I still want to go on farming the lower corruption. Next up, corruption monolith instead of timeline wide. So this is a thing that I still don't know why this is a thing. I mean, I do get the different timelines and the different blessings and stuff like that, but if I am capable of like going a corruption 500 here on this zone over here, if I go to another zone, yeah, we're back on corruption 100. So it just a point of perspective here. If I'm able to do corruption 500 on this timeline, I'm pretty sure I can do corruption 500 on another timeline as well. And don't get me wrong, I am totally aware of every time that the way you do it is like you get one timeline to a higher corruption, and then you get bonuses on the other corruptions to get back faster. But it's still quite some time investment where I don't personally see the benefit, unless it's just like, yeah, the devs just want you to give something to do, and you shouldn't progress too fast. But I think it's more of an annoying thing. For example, blessing. You know, once you get to corruption 200 on the zone, you get to choose 5 blessings. So if I'm done with like farming the blessing, and that's the reason why I'm even on 500, because I was farming the blessing here with a decent roll. So now I'm here on 500. So now I want to farm, let's say the blessing over here. Body armor shard drop rate is, I think, 16%. Sounds like non-empowered still, right? So what I would like to do is just go ahead and, you know, why do I have to like farm up the corruption to 200 now, even though I proved already that I'm on like 500 on another region? You know what I mean? I know it's getting faster, but still I would like to have it like more account wide, if that even makes sense, or monolith-wide corruption in that case. Next up, the Circle of Fortune and Merchants Guild progression in the early corruption. So basically what I mean is the favor. Favor is account wide, the ranks are account wide, and I'm still not even ranked 10 yet, even though I'm playing quite a lot, but it's like how you approach this, right? And I feel like it takes quite a lot of time and effort to get to the later ranks, which is totally fine. But the problem is the favor gain scales with the corruption, basically, right? So I could run like an hour of like 500 corruption and, I don't know, get like 300,000 favor. And in order to get 300,000 favor on my other character that is somewhere in corruption 150 or something, I probably need like 10 or 15 hours to get the same amount. So don't get me wrong, it's totally fine that the higher corruption you go, the more benefits you get, the more reputation you get, and so on and so forth. But realistically, if you're starting out on a new character, you're probably gonna farm corruption 100 or maybe 200 to get going, because you need to farm your blessings, for example, right? Because you don't have any blessings, and this is probably, as the way I see it, the first step that you do is just to unlock all the important, doesn't have to be high roll or something, but you're gonna spend a lot of time farming those blessings, right? And the amount of favor you're getting is almost non-existent, and this is kind of like very, like, I would like to see it, like, kind of, like, buffed in the early stages of corruption, and let it fall off the further you go, basically, right? Because at the end of the day, if you're farming hours and hours, or even days by days, farming blessings and low corruption, and after, like, 3 days of grinding, you end up having, like, 100,000 corruption, like, favor that you actually can spend for prophecies and reputation upgrades, or rank upgrades, it just takes forever, and feels kind of like punishing if for you to try out new builds if they're not as strong as your previous character. Another thing, adding stash tabs over here would be a nice thing, because if you completed an Echo, you always have like your stash tab. There is a Forge, which I don't really know why that is, because you still have a Forge over here, but maybe a visual thing, doesn't really matter. But over here, you know where, at least I haven't seen any stash tabs around. So I always need to go back, you know, into the end of time with a loading screen and stuff like that to even access a stash. While every time I complete an Echo, there is a stash there. What I technically mean by that is every time I'm trying out a new build, so I'm going to the end of time or to the arena or something like that, or basically here, end of time, I'm respecking my character because there is no respec NPC somewhere in the monolith here. Then I go back and then I'm like, oh shit, man, I forgot the items that I wanted to take or something like that, right? And it's kind of annoying to always like go back and just to have access to a stash, because without gear or without like adjusting the skill points and stuff, you can barely run than an Echo. You could just do a normal one on like the lowest difficulty, just like, you know, go through just so you have access to a stash if you want to avoid the loading screens where we had some issues here. Next one is the dungeon difficulty should be unlocked. I think I tackled that one before. This is about the account progression. Means if I do a temporal key on a new character, I always have to start on the T1, even though I already did T4 on my other character. Not saying that I will be able to do it at Tier 4 on my other character, or on the new character, but the thing is, I already unlocked it. Like, let me just, you know, have some form of account progression, because it really feels bad for playing a new character, which kind of feels like you playing on a new account and have to redo all of your progression. As I said, you have your stash and affix and gold and stuff like that, but progression-wise, you're absolutely starting on a new account, because you just have to like go campaign, non-empowered, empowered, blessing farm, unlock dungeons, like, you know, there's just kind of feels bad, because I want to play a lot of builds, but I always know if I want to get a new build going to a state where I can farm corruptions, or corrupting at all, it kind of feels like that I need to invest like 15 to 20 hours, which I think for just trying out a build idea is just way too massive, and it kind of feels like unrewarding for even unlocking all of it. So skipping non-empowered monolith, I think I talked about that one with the option maybe on your alt, like first time totally fine, but on my alt character I would like to just have it like this, where I say, hey, if my character is good, go empowered straight away, or hey, I made a mistake, I cannot even do empowered corruption 200 on my level 65 character, so better just go back to normal, but I have the option to do so. And the last thing is basically some layering options. So this might be like not too visible. I mean, visible, yes, because there is like a little bit of a layer difference here, but what that means for most travel skills, especially when I played my cycle starter, which was a rampage druid, I'm always getting stuck on those things. So rampage is like a channeling skill where you just like have like increased movement speed and dealing damage, basically, right? But what happens is I rampage over here, it stops over here. So I need to walk manually over that to then keep on rampaging. And this is like a problem that occurred over more builds and more traversal skills and stuff, especially, I think it was the Reign of Dragons or something over here, where there's like this, this frost dragon, right? And it looks like it's a complete flat area where the boss is there, but the game itself, it's not, because I cannot rampage whatsoever in this area, because I'm always like getting stuck. And sometimes I can rampage for like half a second, sometimes it doesn't even let me rampage, and I'm just like getting this like stutter stepping, and I'm getting rubber banded and stuff like that. So there is some kind of like layering, probably it's the wrong word, but just like from the idea that it is like a big issue with traversal skills, but also teleport skills, because for example, I do have here teleport, right? And wait, does it work? Yeah, teleport. So it is weird that I cannot like or sometimes can teleport over obstacles, but sometimes not. Let's say there is like an area, then there's like a little bridge up there, and then on the upper side of the area, on a little mountain or hill, is the echo reward, but I cannot just simply teleport from the lower layer to the upper layer, which doesn't really make sense to me, because it's still in the end a teleporting skill. But it feels like teleporting skills are right now just to move on even ground without like having the option to go from one layer to the other, basically, which I think kind of like annoying and makes me feel like, why do I even have like a teleport skill if I cannot even like cross a bridge or any layering? So if there is another platform I would like to like teleport over, which doesn't really work, I just teleport into the wall and I still have to find another way around it. So can say like, yeah, this is just like, you know, avoiding things or saving time, but on the other hand, it's still a teleport skill. It is a movement skill. I have to like get one going to even be able to teleport, so I already reducing the power of my character in that case, and then I simply cannot do a lot of things with it. It's still nice to like avoid boss mechanics if you can quickly teleport out. This is probably the main case, but I would like to see some movement skill, teleporting skills interacting with the environment, so I do have my advantages even having teleport on my gear and on my character. Good, I think that pretty much is like the, yeah, video that I plan to do as a form of a feedback video. So as I said, this is just my personal opinion. This is the way I felt about playing a lot of the game, things that I would like to see changed. That does not have to be in line with what your ideas about it is, or maybe I'm even complete shit talking or whatever. So please let me know in the comments below what things that you would like to see changed, just to have like a general feedback video, and then we see what EHG is going to implement or take notes or take ideas or something like that. Or they say like, hey, all the things that you said doesn't really make sense, we don't want to have that. That's totally fine as well. It just like things, because I'm really enjoying the game, and that's why I'm even making the video, just to give feedback on what I encountered while playing the game. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, and see you.